Before we get to the meat of this video, obviously some news broke today, the day as I'm recording this video. One, a new game focusing on Gen 9 is coming out later this year. Violet and Scarlet, that's coming out this year. Also, the season of Alola is coming. So more likely we're going to get more news on that from the Pokemon Company, or Niantic rather, on Monday. And I would make a video on that on Wednesday. So Wednesday going to be a huge video. So yes, Gen 7, well, the rest of Gen 7 is coming to Pokemon Go at some point in time. Really starting this Tuesday, actually, the day after this video drops. But we got to talk about the Johto event. So let's get on to the meat of this video. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. It's your boy Troy. For today's day is Sunday. I'm about to say Monday. It's not Monday, not yet. It is Sunday, February the 27th. So we are still in the month of February, and by the time this video drops, it will still be the month of February. But then the next time I release a video, it would be Monday. I mean, it would be March, excuse me. So what will happen at that point in time is this. February will be over, which means Black History Month will be over, and we'll begin on to the month of March. Again, the season of Alola will be going on, and also news about events going on in the month of March will be announced as well. And I'm hoping for the month of March, some point in time within the month of March, we might get some Go Fest news. I don't know, possibly, I don't know. But let's backtrack to the here and the now, which is still February. And as y'all know, February is Black History Month. So earlier in the month, I did a video about, you know, shining out Black or African American Pokemon Go or Pokemon content creators / streamers. So there's that. And I also asked for you guys to provide me with some streamers or content creators that I miss, whether they play Pokemon Go or Pokemon in general. And shout out to Squid the Beast, as he was the only one who did so. So I'm gonna shout out Red Revivals, and I think it's Starkey or Sparky. It's one of those two, actually. Yes, it is Starkey. Starkey with 2 A's and 2 Y's. So I highly recommend y'all check both of them out. They, based on what I have seen, they play Pokemon content on their Twitch channels. That's pretty much it. I haven't seen anything about Pokemon Go, but they might play Pokemon Go off stream. I don't know. But in terms of what they do on stream, is straight up Pokemon content based on what I have seen. So I'm shouting them two out right here as Black History Month is coming to a close. So check their channels out. So with that out there right now, let's get to the bad, and that is, well, possibly the bad, and that is the Johto event. So the good is obviously Gen 7 is coming to Pokemon Go. That's good. We all like that. And a new month to come in, which is March, which means the cold season is coming to an end. Technically don't end until like late March, but you get the drill. Spring is coming. But before we get there, we had to stick with what just happened. That is the Johto event. So obviously I did a review of the Johto or the Kanto event last year. So was this year's event better than last year's? Let's find out. So let's start off with the good. So there was actually more good than there were last year. So in comparison to this year, believe it or not. So check this out. So the trainer battles did not last the entire event. So one of the issues that I had with last year's event was that there was like these trainers showing up at, I believe I said 80% of the Pokestops that I personally encountered last year. And I was at the 6% of Dearborn where there's a bunch of Pokestops there. So about 80% of them trainer battles, which means when I clicked on one to try and spin a Pokestop to get items or field research, whatever the case may be, I had to deal with that dialogue. I had to deal with that dialogue. I had to deal with that dialogue. And it was like, it's annoying. Cut that out. So this year, they were not showing up all over the place. Instead, what happened was this. Once you get to a certain part in a certain research, like for example, you need to look for that ice trainer. Like you could go to certain Pokestop and the ice trainer will only be there. Once you get done with that, then the dragon trainer. Like then you look for the Pokestops with the dragon trainer only and stuff like that. So it was cool. So they wasn't plastered all over the place rather. And when you were done with the research, the last thing you had to do, they gave you a choice. Either you could keep the trainers in the game, or you can focus on catching, aka get the trainers out of there. I'm pretty sure everybody and their mama, I'm guessing here, but I'm pretty sure everybody and their mama purposely get the trainers out the game. So if you didn't select that, you probably did it by accident. But yeah, so that was good. I like that. That was good. A much better improvement than what they did last year, where they were just like 80% all over the place. Well, for me personally, that is. The raid setup was similar to last year. So again, there was an egg that would pop up. Tier 1, Tier 3, Tier 5. 5 minutes until that egg hatch. And then the raid popped up. And the raid would last for 25 minutes. And then after that, there was a 5-minute rest period. And then it was all over again. So they did the same thing last year. And they showed up at the exact same gyms. So the same gyms were spawning raids. So that's another plus. And that's also something that they did last year. So that's a good thing. They kept that open for last year. No problems with any of that whatsoever. Now, there were less raid bosses this year than last year. Only about 1 though, which is good because we don't need a lot of raid bosses. So obviously, you know, last year, obviously they had the Legendary Birds, they had Mewtwo, and then they had other stuff like the regionals. So we're talking Farfetch, Kangaskhan, Mythamine, Tauros, and of course Snorlax, which was not in regional. So last year, so there was that. This year we had Unknown You, which I wish it was a different unknown than you, but whatever. Unknown You, what is it? Corsola, Heracross, and then we had Lugia, Ho-Oh, Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. So again, 1 less than last year, which was 9. This year was 8. But the more important raids, which was like last year 4 to 5, was 2 this year. So last year again, if you didn't have like that regional your area, so for us in America, we had Tauros. So I had the shiny Tauros already going into the event. So I needed a shiny fake Farfetch, a shiny Kangaskhan, the shiny Mr. Mime, and I got all those last year during the Kanto event. And then of course there was the Snorlax. This year it was only just 2, Heracross and Corsola. So that's pretty good too. So you know, so there's a possibility of like, yeah, you was guaranteed to get a Heracross raid or a Corsola raid within the span of, what was that, like 30 minutes, I guess? Because remember, the eggs would hatch 5 minutes, and then 25 minutes that the raid balls would be there. So basically 30 minutes. And then, of course, that 5-minute rest period before another egg hatched, whatever the case may be. So that was good. I like that. Now, there was more bonuses this year than there were last year. So that's good. And another thing about that, in addition to that, which was something that they did this year, I don't recall them doing this last year. I don't think they did. There were more boxes. So there was more boxes for you in the in-game shop. And some of those boxes was good. Like there was that Team Go Rocket box that cost like 40,000. No, not 40,000, but 4,000 Pokecoins. I still get that because that's a lot of Rocket Radars. So, I mean, there were more items available for you. Now, granted, with those boxes, you have to pay for them. They wasn't exactly free, but there was still some more bonuses from doing the research tag, and we're going to get more of that in a second, and all that jazz than they were last year. So that's good. Now, in terms of the Legendaries, now here's where things were different from last year. This year, there were Legendaries and Evolved Pokemon spawning in the wild, and all of them can be shiny. All of them can be shiny. That was not the case last year. That was not the case last year at all. No Legendaries were spawning around. The Evolved Pokemon were not spawning around at all last year. So the fact that they were doing that this year and they could be shiny was great. Now with the Legendaries, you know, we're talking about the Legendary Beasts. So again, Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. Like if you encounter those and they were not shiny, there is a very good chance that first ball you caught it, and as soon as you get in the ball, you're gonna pop out and run away. Now if it was shiny, it's gonna stay until you catch it. So that's good. Very, very good if you ask me. No complaints about that at all. Again, this is the first time they're doing that this year. They didn't do that last year. So I really, really like that. Now, speaking of what they did last year, the hourly theme. So again, it wasn't like, oh, the first hour was the water types. The second hour was gonna be the fire types. No, you know, they mentioned the towns, you know, like Palatown last year, whatever the case may be. So they did that again this year. No problems with that. So those were all the goods that I had in regards to this year's Johto event comparison to Kanto event last year. Now, the mans are like what we call in the middle of the pack, so they're not bad, but they're not good either. So, and these 2 mans carried over from last year. So, and they are the following. Again, 9 regular raid passes. Again, we're getting that again this year. So again, in order for you to get all 9 raid passes, you have to go to raid, use the raid pass, do the raid, And then you go to another raid, boom, you get the second one, boom. And then you do that, go to another raid, boom, you get the third. It's not like they go give you all 9 at once. You get one, then you have to use it to get the next one, and then use it to get the next one. And again, the same thing last year. So basically, again, they have not learned the lesson for last year, which is you have to go out to play the event. They have not learned that lesson. Now, granted, last year was worse because the pandemic was at its highest at that point. There was no I forgot what the thing called. It's not an antidote, but you know, the booster shots, vaccines, that's what they call it. That wasn't a thing yet. So they was really asking you to do a lot last year. This year, obviously, we got the boosters, we got the vaccines, and things of that nature. So it's more calm, but it's still a thing. So they should have took that in consideration. And on a side note, obviously the issue going on with the Russians and the Ukraine is still a thing. So if you playing Pokemon Go out there, no, that's not happening. Now, granted, that's not Niantic fault because they announced this event back in November last year, and this war just came up. I think they were talking about it like within the last month or so. So you can't blame Niantic for that, but at the same time, again, they still force you to go out to play the game, and the whole 9 regular raid passes thing again is proof for that. Now, another thing that was mad is the same thing they did last year. The lure modules, the star pieces, the lucky eggs, they last for 30 minutes. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't use any of those 3 this year. So I have no clue they last for 30 minutes or longer. So let me know in the comment section, did they last for 30 minutes or did they last for longer, like an hour or 2 hours, whatever the case may be. But the one thing that did bug me was the incense was an hour. Again, and that was the issue last year. And actually, I consider that a bad last year. So this is like, could be the leading point towards the bad right here. So again, we have community days where they would be like 6 hours long. And we get an instance that lasts for 3 hours. Here, we have this one event, the Johto event, that lasts for 12 hours. And yet, our instance only lasts for 1 hour? Where's the logic? I don't see the logic here. It makes no sense. The instance should have been for 3 hours. Like, stop being cheap. Cut that nonsense out. Now let's get into the bad. And there's a lot of bad, actually. I'll be honest, there's a lot of bad. So, and I'll be honest, I don't know if this is me. Because again, I'm going to bring up something that I brought up last year. And that is this. I was same as last year, I went to the Civic Center Dearborn, which is somewhat the Mecca. So, there's a lot of Pokestops there. We got one new gym there. I don't know if that gym came out this year or it came out last year before the Kanto event. But either way, we got one new gym this year than what we had last year. Actually, we got a new Pokestop for this year as well. So there's a lot of Pokestops there. There's a lot of Poke gyms there. There's a lot of spawns that goes on at the Civic Center in Dearborn. And again, throughout the entire event, it took about, I think, 6, 7, maybe 8 hours before I saw a Dunsparce. Now, that makes no sense to me. Some of y'all might not look at that and go, oh, that's not a big deal. But I mean, like, it's a shiny. It's a rare shiny. And I don't have that. So, it was very, very odd that, like, one Dunsparce spawned in a round. That makes no sense to me. Now, granted, I think overall grand total of 3 or 4 Dunsparce spawned in a total for me personally. Again, I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, who was at the Civic Center all day, that's an issue. That was a major, major issue right there. Now, the next thing that I have is this. That Magical Leaf Celebi, that should be automatic. It should not be, oh, you have to do it within this day, within this time frame to get Celebi that knows to move Magical Leaf. And it's like, no. That should be automatic. It don't matter when you get done with these tasks, with these research, or whatever the case may be, the fact that you get Celebi with Magical Leaf should be automatic. It should not be, oh, you have to complete it within the time frame. That should be automatic right off the bat. Now, why did I say that? Well, again, this was the issue last year, but it's worse this year. There was a lot to do. It was a lot to do. So, and again, one of the major things I heard about this year was it was like too stressful. It was too overwhelming. It was just too much crap to do within the Johto event. So again, you have to do all these research tasks. You have to evolve all these Pokemon. You have to evolve Pokemon on certain time frames. It's just too much. The trainer battles, you know. And yeah, I'm gonna get more into the specifics in terms of these resources, things of that nature. But again, too much. It was just too much to do. That is a lesson that Niantic did not learn last year, or the Pokemon Company. I don't know if they involved with this or not, but we can't rule them out at all. But that was a lesson that they did not learn last year, and it should have been learned this year because it's just too much, way too much to do. And the tasks were too long. That's one of the things. So again, there was like, I think there was like 2 separate tasks. One of them involving the trainer battles. That one went all the way to like step 11. And the other one was towards getting Celebi. I think that went up to like 12 steps or something like that. But again, it's just too long. Way, way, way too long. Now, granted, I understand that when you pay $12 USD currency, that is, I don't know if you know about the rest of the world. Not only are you getting that just to do the shinies, you're also getting the items that come with it. And then, and on that note, those items should have been in a box, given to you for free, in my opinion. Instead of doing all this crap, doing all these researches, doing all these battles, doing all these field researches, hatching all these eggs just to get these items that you technically pay for. And it's like, no, put all these items that you promised in a box, have them in the shop for us for free. It's that simple. So, I mean, for those who paid for the ticket. So, they should have done it like that instead of making us go through hoops and hurdles just to get these items and all that jazz. It was just, the tasks were too long. And the task was lame too. And like, check this out. So actually one of them was not 12, 15. One of them was like 9 tasks long. Step 3 or 9, catch 15 different species. That should have been reduced to 5. To be honest, that should have been reduced to 5. You know, and then the next one, step 5 or 9. So now we're in the middle of this whole task thing. Complete 3 field research tasks. And then, here's where things get worse. Step 7 or 9, complete 5 field research tasks. And here's the thing. Not everybody and their mama is at a spot where there's going to be 15, 20, 25 Pokestops there. Everybody's not me, right? You're asking people to basically be me. Because I was at the Civic Center Dearborn. I was slowly driving around the area all day. There was Pokestops everywhere. There's about 8, 9 Poke Gyms at that exact location. And then there was like 5 gyms rather in the nearby location. So I could just remote over there. Everybody's not me. Like, everybody don't have the same locations as I do. So, and not everybody's willing to go out because, you know, you're asking people to spend 12 hours, half a day on this event. And that's, for most people, or at the very least for half, impossible. It's impossible. So to say, oh yeah, later on in this step 9 research thing, you're gonna have to like complete 5 field research tasks, which means you have to go out and spend 5 Pokestops and complete whatever the task that you have, assuming that you can. Because it's not like, oh, hatch 1 egg, or oh, catch us 1 Pokemon. No, it's some crazy task. Like, yo, get like 5 hearts with your buddy while walking. It's something tedious like that, and that's just for 1 task. So that makes no sense to me. That should not be a part of the task, like in terms of completing a certain number of field research tasks. That should not be a thing, in my opinion. Not at all. And then the crazy thing about it is, they didn't give you any guides or like hints of, yo, you may want to do this because in order for you to get Celebi, or in order for you to complete this, you're gonna have to do this. So like, what should have been said going into the event is this, from Niantic, is this. Yo, don't complete your field research tasks early, because you're gonna need that for later. Yo, don't hatch any eggs right away, because you're gonna need that for later. You know, yo, don't do this because you're gonna need that for later. Yo, make sure you have an EV and make it your buddy and involve it during the day, and make sure you have another one, involve it at night, so you can get Espeon and Umbreon, because those are the only ways you can get those without the walking requirements. Like, they should have told you this stuff. Now, again, I don't know, in terms of the evolutions, I know they said there will not be any walking requirements, but the fact that they failed to mention, yo, you still kind of need to have an EV as your buddy and then evolve it so you can get Espeon during the day, and then make an EV to your buddy again and evolve it to Umbreon at night. They should have said that. There was a lot of stuff that they should have said, but instead they basically said, yo, New Zealand's gonna be the guinea pigs. Watch them and see how they do it. And not everybody have Twitch, not everybody have YouTube, or had the time to get on to these streaming platforms to watch how it's done in New Zealand. So, and it's fair for those out in New Zealand because they basically the guinea pig saying like, okay, what are we supposed to do here? Oh, we supposed to do this. What are we supposed to do here? Oh, we supposed to do that. And then they supposed to tell the likes of Leak Duck, and he put it on his website, be like, yo, America, this is what you expect. No, that should not be the case. Like, yo, Niantic or the Pokemon Company or whoever's involved with this should have gave us a warning, should have gave us hints like, yo, don't do your field researches right away. Save them suckers for later. Yo, don't hatch your eggs right away. Save them suckers for later. Whatever the case may be, they should have gave you hints on how to complete these long and tedious field research tasks because that made no sense. It was really, really bad, especially in comparison to last year. Now, and here's another thing. Trainers should be, like those trainer battles that we did, they should be in the exact same Pokestops. So while I like the fact that they wasn't all over the place like they were last year, slowing us down with their stupid dialogue or whatever, but at the same time, I would hear reports that people didn't even finish all the trainer battles. Now, I wonder why is that? Well, maybe because they're not me and have access to a location where there's about 20, 30, 40, 50 Pokestops. They don't, nor do they have the time to stay there all freaking day. That's a possibility. I mean, so if you're gonna force them to battle 8 different trainers, they should all spawn for the same Pokestop. They should all spawn for the same Pokestop. So they can like, oh, okay, this is next, and they can get them out the way. I'm not saying reduce the number of 8 to 4, because again, these trainers are based off of characters from real life people. So I'm not saying that, but at the same time, they should be spawning from one Pokestop. So as soon as you get done with the Psychic type, the next one that spawn for the same Pokestop is the Ice type. After that, it's that same Pokestop will spawn the Dragon type. And then you go from there. That way, you're not walking all over the place like, yo, there's a Pokestop 20 blocks down. Let's see if there's a Dragon type trainer. No, you're not doing that. They all should be spawning from one Pokestop. I'm not saying one in the entire world or one in the area, but like all of them should be spawning that one trainer, so people won't have to like hurry and look for them and be like, oh man, where they at? Oh, they're over there. Oh, no, they should all be there. It should not be a hassle to find these trainers. It shouldn't, because again, not everybody in the world who plays the game, who got the Johto ticket, have access to, again, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 Pokestops. And nor do they want to spend 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours looking for them. It makes no sense to me at all. They need to really fix that. Now, the Incense Spawns were terrible, because what I was seeing throughout the habitats out in the wild, I should not be seeing spawning from an instance. So for example, Eevee was in that first hour habitat. I should not be spawning an Eevee out of an instance, or a Centric from an instance. I should not be seeing that. What I should be seeing are the Pokemon that were exclusive to the instance. So depending on which version you have, so you have Gold, you're looking at Mantine, you know, that should be spawning for the instance. And I don't remember off the top of my head what the other 3 Pokemon are. Oh, the Teddy Ursula should be spawning for the instance, you know. And if you have Silver, the Manaphy should be spawning for the instance. The Ladybug should be spawning for the instance. And of course, from both versions, the Unknown should be spawning for the instance. That's it. That is it. Nothing from these habitats should be spawning from the instance. That was a major fail, because I barely saw, I know I can't speak for everybody, but I barely saw any Unknowns at all. And I barely saw any of the Pokemon that were spawning from the instance, that was exclusive to the instance. I barely saw that at all. I did not like that at all. I think they did that last year as well. I'm not sure if I mentioned that or not. No, I did not mention that in last year's video. I should have. But that was a terrible idea. Again, when you put on the instance, the only Pokemon that should be spawning from the instance are the Pokemon exclusive to the instance. Anything outside of that is BS. It's straight up BS. Now, and I said this last year, and actually, no, that's not true. Yeah, I did say this last year. This should have been a 2-day event. Because of all the stuff that you had to do within 12 hours, This should have been a 2-hour event. So I said this last year. So again, instead of it being 12 hours, it should have been 6, 7, 8 hours a day. So 6, 7, 8 hours on Saturday, 6, 7, 8 hours on Sunday. This should have been a 2-day event because again, there was just too much to do, too many tasks, all these evolutions and all that jazz. It was just too much. It was too much to do. And you asking people to get all this crap done within the day just so they can get Celebi with Magical Leaf. And believe it or not, even though, you know, it's not even useful. So some of you might be wondering, so what's the point of trying to complete all this in a day? Well, I mean, to have the move. You pay for it, basically. To get the move, you pay for it. So it should have been a 2-day event. And last year, like in terms of the incentive or the Pokemon behind the paywall was better. I mean, Shiny Ditto and Shiny Celebi is much better than Shiny Gyarados, which has absolutely, positively nothing to do with the the Johto region. Unless I'm wrong, I don't know. So you guys let me know in the chat if Shiny Gyarados have some significance to the Johto region. Let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, why is that a thing? Why was that a thing? Now that I think about it, why was that a thing? That makes no sense to me. That's something that should have been for last year's event, but not this year. So that made no sense for me, rather. So Shiny Gyarados, Celebi, not a Shiny Celebi, but a regular Celebi that knows the move Magical Leaf, which isn't good at all. And then of course the Apex Legendaries, which cannot be shiny, and it's best not to purify them. It makes no sense. So the incentives should have been better. Like, I don't know, because Corsola is a regional exclusive, so it's the same as Heracross. They should have been the incentives. They should have been the paywall. So that should have been the thing instead of, again, a Shiny Gyarados, which, as far as I know, have nothing to do with Gen 2, have nothing to do with Johto. So I don't know why that was there. And a Celebi that wasn't shiny, but know the move Magical Leaf. That is pretty much useless. So that to me is just bogus to me. Now, another thing that was bogus, the shiny rates were low. So the shiny rates were low. So obviously it's similar to Snorlax from last year, but it's much worse. Obviously Heracross. Even though I did get a shiny Heracross, I will show y'all everything that I got near the end of this video. I got 21 shinies overall, which is much better than last year. Last year I think I got 13. But I was out looking for a specific Pokemon this year, so that's why I didn't get a lot of shinies, or to my liking. I seen people say, oh, they had 29 and 30 and 40 and 50, whatever the case may be. And I'm like, okay, y'all just collecting. I was looking for specific ones, but whatever the case may be, whatever floats your boat. But either way, the shiny rates were low for the Heracrosses and the Corsolas, which are both region exclusives. So not everybody around the world can get their hands on these two. So they were really low, and they were low for everything as well. The unknowns, I got no shiny unknowns, and all the new Johto shinies. So the Mantines, the Manaphy's, and whatever else that's new. I can't think about them all off the top of my head, because I have not seen any pictures. I have not seen a lot of pictures, rather. Shiny Remoraid, I'm not sure that was already in the game or not, but I have not seen a lot of pictures of shiny Manaphy, nor what's that thing called? Donphan? The pre-evolved form of Donphan. I can't remember what it is. As I did see Cricket get one, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot of people who got these new Gen 2 shinies. So the shiny rates are really low. And let's be honest. Now granted, yes, there are other things to do when you have your hands on a Johto ticket. So obviously hanging out with friends, the experience is all a part of it. But let's be real. The main reason, not the main reason, but the number one reason people got a Johto ticket is for the shinies. It's for the shinies. Now, is it the only important reason? No. Is it the only main reason? No. But it is one of, if not the main reason why you got a Johto ticket. The shinies. So the fact that the shinies rates were not raised for those who had tickets makes no sense to me. It's blasphemous. It's straight up blasphemous. So there's that. And again, I said this last year. So you know how I said the demand was 9 regular raid passes where they force you to go out and basically do 8 to 9 raids to get these 9 regular raid passes that comes with your ticket. They only give you 3 remote raid passes. Again, I said this last year. Again, not everybody can be out the entire 12 hours. Not everybody can get out at all. Not everybody trying to stay out for how long, however, 12 hours, whatever the case may be. So, the fact that they only gave us 3 remote raid passes is nonsense. Cause let's be real. Here's what should have happened. They should have flip-flopped these numbers. So instead of giving us 9 regular raid passes where you have to go out and do 8 to 9 raids just to use them all within that day and only gave us 3 remote raid passes, that number should have been flip-flopped. Or to be honest, it should have been 9 both. 9 regular raid passes and 9 remote raid passes. So with the remote raid passes, again, and I never understand this to this day, why we can only hold up to 5 remote raid passes at a time. Because you can finesse the system, and if you have 2, you can get a 3-pack and have 5 on you. But more than that, no, you can't do that. I never understood that. I don't know why that's the thing, but factoring that in, it should have been 9. And those 9 remote raid passes should have been in 3 separate boxes. All of them free. All 3 of them should be free. So once you get done with the first box, you can't get the second box until you have 2 or less in your storage rather, and then you can get the second box. And then once again have 2 or less, you can get the third box, and then boom. And then here's the thing, people are gonna use them. They're gonna be used up very quickly. So if you worry about, oh, we ain't gonna make money from this, nah, y'all still gonna get your money. Y'all still gonna get your money. Obviously, there's more people gonna be like, oh, 9, okay, that's my limit, but y'all still gonna get your money. Quit being cheap. Stop being greedy. Come on now. Y'all still gonna get your money up the ante with the remote raid passes, man. All right. Another thing that I didn't like about this year is this fool, Professor Rillo, aka Professor Daddy. He talked too freaking much. His dialogue is way too long. There was nothing different about his dialogue alone in comparison to the trainer battles from last year, where you encounter the Pokestop. They're gonna show up and talk you to death. All of that for last year, all those 8 trainers for last year equals Rillo alone from this year. Shut him up. Bruh, I did not pay $12 just to see him talk. Bruh, they need to cut his dialogue down a lot. Because again, times always not granted, you can speed through this, but it's some of those was bruh, can you shut up? It just kept going at times. So cut his dialogue down. Really cut his dialogue down. Then the last thing is this. The last 2 hours should have been reserved for Pokemon with debut shinies, the evolved Pokemon, and the Legendaries. So I should not be seeing Community Day Pokemon appearing in the last 2 hours of the event. So I'm talking Mareep, I'm talking Chikorita, I'm talking Cyndaquil, I'm talking Totodile, I'm talking especially Hoppin. We just had that a month ago. And then I gotta be consistent. I know these 3 Pokemon are useful, but I gotta be consistent. I'm also talking Larvitar. I'm also talking Swinub, and as painful for me to say, I have to include Eevee in that list as well, because I want more Hundo Eevees, but at the same time, it's there's more important things here than that. And the fact that I'm not seeing a bunch of Pokemon, like Dunsparce, for example, or, rare Pokemon, in the last 2 hours is blasphemous. It's really, really blasphemous. I should not be seeing Scythers all over the place as well. And I was. So, and that's not even it's a Kanto Pokemon. It's not a Johto Pokemon. So, again, the last 2 hours, and I said this last year, the last 2 hours should really be for Pokemon with debuting shinies, rare Pokemon like Dunsparce, Legendaries, and evolved Pokemon. That's it. Not no Mareeps, not no Eevees, not no Centrix, none of that nonsense. It's just the rare Pokemon with the rare shinies, the evolved Pokemon, the Pokemon with the debuting shinies, the evolved Pokemon, I think I said that already, and the legendary Pokemon. So yeah, that should be reserved for the last 2 hours. Now, what do I think about the event as a whole? Well, just like last year, I had to give it a man. So it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. So here's the deal. If you got a ticket and you spent 12 hours on the event, it was worth it. It really was worth it. Because you had enough time. Assuming, again, there's a lot of what ifs. Assuming you spent 12 hours on the event, assuming you was at a good spot, assuming you had people to trade with, there was just too many assumptions that had to be done. Assuming all that goes your way, it was worth it. if you spend 12 hours on the event and all the other stuff falls in your favor, 11 hours or even 10 hours, it was worth it. Anything less than 10 hours? No. If you did not spend 10 hours or more on the event, you shouldn't have bought a ticket. You shouldn't have bought a ticket. Now, for those of you that did not get a ticket, did you miss anything? Should you have gotten a ticket? No. You didn't miss anything. So like even last year I was like, well, you missed out on Shiny Ditto and Shiny, what was it? Mew. Shiny Mew. So you missed out on that last year, and last I checked, they have not re-released any of those shinies. So if you didn't get a ticket last year, you missed out on something. But this year, nah, you didn't miss out on anything. You really did. Because again, the same shiny rates applied to you as it did to everybody else who got a ticket. You were still able to do the course of the raids and the hero cross raids, which were really the two more important things to do. So you didn't miss anything. You did not miss out on anything. And that's it. So, and the last thing I'm gonna say, well, second to last thing I'm gonna say is last year's event was slightly better than this year's. So even though this year had more good in comparison to last year, but they had more bad in comparison to last year. And the fact that, like, yo, if you got a ticket, there was Pokemon behind the paywall, which some of you may not like it, but still though, it's an incentive. So the fact that there were Pokemon behind the paywall last year, and that's technically wasn't the case this year. Like, why would you? It goes against the Johto event in comparison to the Kanto event. So both events were mad, but this year's event was slightly worse than last year's event. Now, the last thing I'm gonna show you guys is, you're probably wondering, how many shinies did I get this year? Well, I got 21. So, but out of those 21, there was 3 Pokemon that I really wanted and I got. One of them was the Girafarig, one of them was the Spinarak, which I evolved, and of course I got the Heracross. I'm very happy that I got the Heracross. So those were the 3 shinies that I really want. You know, there's others, but those were the 3 out of the list of others that I really wanted, and I got 3 of those. So that's cool with me. So there you go with that, and I'm gonna call it a wrap. So with all that said, y'all know what this is. This boy New Jake Ass Speak, aka New Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah. Subscribe. Thanks, man. Do it. After you subscribe to the channel, make sure you click the bell icon so you never miss a new video or a live stream ever again. Thanks, guys.
Lewis the trainer, articulating pain. With my tongue, I done things that people said I can't. Now they rank 'em with the elite, but it's for the people, and victory is part of defeat. Cause when you get back on your feet, then you try again. Learn from mistakes, show 'em that I got what it takes, and I'm dying to win. I'ma hit and move away.